Is that the real SJ? I'm not too sure. You're gonna have to double check with someone else. Oh! Yo. That's crazy. Wait, let's try the other one. Ooh. Oh. Which do you guys prefer? I like both. This is the Bakeneko65 from CannonKeys. There's a hype. It's cool. Yeah, there's the Bakeneko65 that we're building today. Flash grade. There we go. We got someone to show themselves. Look who he is! There's the boy. Also get an O-ring. So this is for the sandwich in between the plate and the PCB. Ooh. I believe these are the feet. Get some stabs. So these are clip-in stabs. Yeah, JST cable. This is a very nice plate. It's a PCB. So it's the Bakeneko65 PCB. Let's go. What we're gonna do is put the feet on the board. I'm gonna put that in now. You could use tweezers, but I'm a Chad, so I'm just gonna go straight for it. So that's how you put the feet on the board, in case you didn't know how to do that. Cool. What you'll need to test a PCB is some tweezers. So step one of step one is step 1A. Put in the JST cable. How dumb am I? Clearly I am the smartest man alive. Make sure it's just flushed in. That's the easiest way of doing it. So make sure it's flush and you just push it through. It should slide in relatively easy. If there is any resistance, don't continue pushing like I did. Do as I say, not as I do. USB-C header, and it's the same thing on the other side. You just need to connect it. Make sure it matches and it fits flush. Don't force it in. So if it fits flush, so you get this. Don't try to force it in. It should just slide in quite nicely. And now we can plug it in. You can't see it, but it's connected to VIA. Basically what you do is that you're going to short the switch pins essentially on the PCB. So for example, what we're going to do is connect the two metal bits on the PCB, and it will flash on VIA if it is working. That is if I can actually get them to short. There we go. Cool. There we go. There we go. And the last one. Voila! There we go, Windows. Windows is casually opening. Next is the stabs. What you're going to need for the stabs is, this is 205 grade 0, available at KeebCats. I think it's focused here, yeah, so hold it here. It is a very good all-purpose lube. I use it for pretty much anything keyboard related. And then I've also got a set of XHT BDZ, or BDZ rather. And this will be used for tuning the stabilizer. So what do I mean by tuning the stabilizers? Basically removing the rattle. And we're going to be removing the rattle primarily caused by the gaps in the stabilizer housing, in the stem housing, basically moving around in the stabilizer. So we're going to add some XHT to the wires that will stop the rattle, and we'll add to the stem housings some Krytox 205G0 to make it smoother. And so you see that leg that sticks out on both sides? So there's one on the right side and one on the left side. I'm going to clip these bits here, the ones that I'm touching. Can't see it here. See the ones I'm touching here? So there's 4. I'm going to clip these both sides. What that does is basically makes it smooth on the bottom out. When you press the stabilizer. This is purely optional, by the way. This is not necessary. That's quite clear. You see, I've clipped off 2 parts of the legs. I've clipped off this part here and this part. So hopefully you can see that. So the next step is to lube the stem and the stem railings. I'm going to use this brush, and we're using 205 lube the inside parts, the inner part of the housing here. We're going to lube inside and just go around it, basically making sure all of it is evenly coated and lubed nicely. that. The other side. And that is basically it. So that's all of the stems done, and now is the fun bit. I'm going to be using XHT BDZ for our stabilizers, and this is quite a thick lube essentially. So this is thicker than KeebCats65G0. Most people in Keebs use XHT BDZ or BDZ if you're from the US, because of its properties and being quite thick. It is a very thick lube. Bit of XHT, and then we're going to slide XHT here and cover it. We're going to cover it until none of the black wire shows on either side. Just a little bit on the corner as well, making sure all of it is nicely lubed essentially. And we're going to get the wire, and then we're just going to brush it just a light amount of lube until it covers it. So I like to do this in layers. So this is layer 1 essentially, and you can see that the wire is covered. You can't really see any of the wire left, but it's still not enough lube. We need to add a little bit more than this. So what we're going to do is that we're going to add a bit more and add a second layer. So you can see it gradually getting thicker. Then we'll keep on adding layers, not too much, but we'll keep on adding layers until we feel that it's just right. And when it's just right, the way you know it's time to, actually try it is having a good even coating and making sure you can't really see the wire anymore. Is I'm going to get the stem, making sure the stem is already inside the stabilizer housing. And this way it gets a bit messy. I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to push it, and then voila. Push it in, making sure the bottom is slotted in. So making sure the wire is correctly in the stem. This is an important step, because if it doesn't go in properly, it's going to be a bit of a headache to redo. And that's it, and it connects. Clip it in, and then push down. And you will hear a audible click. Oh my gosh, Dougall's on the stream. Making sure that the stabs or the stems on both sides are going up and down like this. That's how you know your stabs are all well and done. And that's it. So that was stabilizers. Now we get to the tuning part. And what you do is basically put the keycap on and check if there's any significant rattling. I will say this, a little bit of rattle is okay. For some people, they're like, no rattle, or else I never want to touch it. Chances are, even if there's not a lot of rattle, it's going to start rattling eventually. And to save yourself some mental headspace and stuff about your stabilizers, I suggest just getting them to a point where they're acceptable, essentially. In most cases, that's straight out from the beginning, I make sure they just go up and down, and they're not like shaking it around, Some people do this where they try to hear it out. I'm like, you can hear it, but when you have it fully built, it's completely different. So what I'm trying to look is for significant rattle. You hold down one side very lightly, like you actuate it a tiny bit, press it halfway, and with the other side, this is not original method, by the way. So shout outs to whoever figured this out. Just lightly tap it. If you can hear or feel a lot of wire moving, then chances are your stabilizers need a tiny bit of tuning. There's the flattering ones. So there is a tiny bit of rattle, but not so much that I'm going to lose my mind over it, because end of the day, stabilizers will end up rattling eventually, and when it gets really uncomfortable for the ears, that's when I'm gonna tune them. But at the minute, it's all good. I'm gonna plonk this here. making sure that the plate is the right orientation. CannonKeys. So I am using TTC golden pink switches. They're available at KeebCats. These are linear switch, a light linear switch akin to Cherry MX Reds. They are probably 10 times smoother than Cherry MX Reds, and they have very little stem wobble. They're really, really nice. I think this is a great time to show off the plate fork, because basically what you can see here is that the switch is kind of being like, nah, let's not go in properly. So I'm going to use our 3D printed plate fork and demonstrate how we can make this a little bit easier on our lives. So we put the plate fork in, there we go, boom, see that? That's it, the build is staged. No, not like this. Boom, keyboard. So yeah, that was basically it. You put in switches with the help of plate fork. It was very nice. Cool. So what you do, this is the next step. It might be a little hard to see, but this is quite intuitive. So I'm hoping you guys have intuition when watching this. Get the JST cable, connect it to USB-C, and we're just gonna simply screw that here and then move it to the side like this. Okay, that's screwed in. Where's the other screw? Oh, I'm back. It is I look so shiny. Yeah, I'm not shiny anymore. A little bit shiny. Again. Gonna do that. Pull it into you. Boom. And what we're gonna do now is connect the PCB with the cable and the daughter board. And that's it. And now we just push in this in. I'm gonna slide it in actually. Slide in this O-ring and then push it down into the board. And it should just slot down very peacefully with just a minimal amount of force. Boom. This is the flash gray color. And then there's TTC golden pink switches, they're stock. Got cherry clip and stabilizers, which are lubed and tuned, but everything else is stock. So this is an authentic sound of what it can sound like stock, and it can be even more enhanced or tuned depending on your preference. But yeah, sounds really nice. This is the CannonKeys Bakeneko65, available at KeebCats for pre-order. Pre-orders until the 15th of January till midnight, let's say. And yeah, pre-orders are currently going now. So if you want to get Bakeneko65, Bakeneko60, or any other cool CannonKeys stuff, then check them out on KeebCats website, keebcats.co.uk, and just go to the CannonKeys section. So yeah, that is the stream.